You know, we live in an age where we can capture literally every single moment. But have you ever stopped to think about the moments that were captured, say, 100 years ago? Today, we're diving into the incredibly fragile story of our visual past and the amazing race against time to save it from vanishing completely.
I mean, really think about that for a second. The very first movies ever made, newsreels of huge world events, maybe even your own grandparents' home videos. What if all of that could just, poof, be gone?
Because here's the scary part. For most of our recorded history, that wasn't a what if. That's exactly what was happening. Our photographs, our films, our entire recorded past was literally crumbling into dust, lost for good.
So, to really get why this digital rescue mission is so critical, we first have to understand what we're up against. And the enemy? Well, it's time itself, and the very stuff we use to capture our memories in the first place.
Okay, let's get into this. We all have this romantic idea about old film reels and photos, don't we? They feel so authentic, so real, you can hold them. But here's the twist. That physical nature, the very thing that makes them feel so special, is also their greatest enemy. In a weird way, they were kind of built to fail.
And trust me, this is not a gentle, graceful aging process. Film is actively trying to destroy itself. You've got vinegar syndrome, a chemical decay that makes film brittle and, yeah, smell like vinegar. Early nitrate film could literally just burst into flames. Colors fade away into these pale, sad ghosts. So these aren't just artifacts sitting quietly on a shelf, they are ticking time bombs.
But right when it felt like our history was about to blink out of existence, a new technology showed up. And it kicked off one of the biggest, most important preservation efforts in human history.
So let's be clear, we're talking about so much more than just scanning old pictures. Digital archiving is all about building a digital time capsule. It's a deliberate choice to stop the rot and basically give our visual past a shot at immortality, something it never ever could have had before.
The whole mission really breaks down into three big goals. First, preserve it. You got to stop the bleeding, right? Halt the decay in its tracks. Second, you restore it. Bring it back to life, make it look as good as the day it was filmed. And third, provide access. I mean, what's the point of saving all this history if you lock it away where no one can see it?
Okay, so how on earth does this actually happen? Well, turning a brittle, decaying strip of celluloid into a flawless digital file is, well, it's an absolutely mind-blowing process.
This whole journey is just wild. It all starts with a physical film, which has to be painstakingly cleaned by hand. Then, every single frame, and remember, there are 24 of them for every second of film, gets scanned at an insanely high resolution, like 4K or even 8K. And it's only then that the digital artist can jump in, digitally removing decades of scratches and dust and fixing colors that have gone all weird. It's this incredible blend of science, archaeology, and pure art.
To give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about, the raw data from scanning and restoring just one movie can be more than 20 terabytes. That is a truly staggering amount of information, probably way more than you have on all of your devices combined, all to save just 2 hours of our past.
I just love this quote because it hits the nail on the head. This isn't just some tech job. For the people doing this work, it's a journey of discovery. They get to be the first people in generations to see these lost worlds with perfect clarity. It's like they're carefully brushing the dust off of history itself.
So, after all that incredibly detailed work, what's the payoff? Honestly, it's nothing short of time travel.
Think about the very first color films ever made, using these fragile old processes. For years, they were basically unwatchable, just a faded, muddy mess. But now, thanks to digital restoration, we can see them just like audiences did way back in 1910. They're vibrant, they're alive, it's incredible. And that is the real magic. When you watch restored footage, say, of New York City in 1911, the people on screen are no longer just these distant, flickering ghosts. They become real people. You can see the look on their faces, the details in their clothes. That 100-year gap between you and them, it just collapses.
So why does any of this matter? Well, it gives us this deep, emotional link to our past. It gives historians brand new details they could never see before. But maybe most importantly, it means that these stories, our shared heritage, get saved for all the generations to come. Lost stories are finally being found again.
But hold on, the story isn't over. Not by a long shot. Because in solving the problem of physical decay, we've accidentally created a totally new, invisible challenge.
It is the great paradox of our time. It's called digital decay. The very digital files we're using to save history could become unreadable themselves.
File formats become obsolete, hard drives fail, and data can literally just rot away from something called bit rot.
And here is the really terrifying difference. Physical decay is usually slow. You can see the rust on a film can. You can smell that vinegar smell. But digital decay? It can be instant, totally invisible, and absolutely catastrophic. One day, your file is perfectly fine. The next, it's just a useless jumble of code. The rescue mission is never, ever really over.
Which leaves all of us with a huge final question. This effort to save the 20th century's history is this massive, heroic undertaking. But what about the 21st century? Every photo we take, every video we shoot, it all lives in that same fragile digital world. In a way, we've all become the curators of our own personal histories. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, will they survive?